Welcome to the PSNORKIS podcast, a show with real topics discussed by real people with real opinions and tempered with a real sense of humour. Now here are your two PSNORKISers. Or is it PSNORKI? Screw it. Here are your hosts, Dr. Myke and the Madman.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by...
As promised, here is the second show. I know you guys are like, what second show? We haven't heard one since last week. Well, yeah, I know you haven't, but we did two of them back to back. And it is sort of like a crossover from one into another. But, yeah, that's okay. We don't want to go give it to you all at once. It's more fun to just kind of like lead you along little by little. So, stop it. Stop. Oh my God. Rebel's back. So you know what kind of day this is going to end up being. Holy crap. We still got everybody here around the table. We got the doc.
What's up, buddy?
There you go. I was waiting for you to speak. You had to be prodded.
Playing with his PSNORKIS again.
Oh, you're going to go blind.
I have a problem.
we got the rocket.
I need therapy.
Hello.
We've got my beautiful wife, PD.
Hello, PSNORKIS friends.
We've got Miss Kitty.
Hello, my darlings.
We still have cake.
Hello.
I like cake.
I like cake.
Yeah.
Most people like cake.
Everybody
Oh,
likes
I used
cake.
to lean towards pie, but not anymore.
Okay.
That's
And
fair.
of course, Rebel's back. So
Yay,
Greetings
Rebel!
and salutations, my PSNORKIS sweethearts.
Hi, Rebel.
this is gonna be
Hello, Father.
a hell of a show. I'm telling you that right now because we're all fired up.
Buckle up. Get your helmets on.
Buckle
Get
up,
ready
here
to
we
lick the
go.
windows.
Oh, my. Oh, my. Should we be scared? I think we should be
I
scared.
should always be
From my
scared.
All
PSNORKIS.
right, then it works. Look, right?
Afraid. Very afraid.
Is it
Shook it too
broken
hard.
or just bent up at an angle?
No,
like
he shook it too hard again.
Oh,
He was
okay.
playing
Like
with
Peyronie's
the tips.
disease?
It was like the
I
giant.
wasn't going to say that. I wasn't going to
If
say
you shake
that.
it more than twice, you're playing with it.
Wow, look.
He's been playing it with it now for a half an hour.
You'd think it'd get sore.
Well, now you know why it's smiling.
This is why we shouldn't do drugs, children.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's on the curb, Malcolm. It's on the curb.
It may be on the curb, but one man's trash is another's treasure.
You have one right there.
So welcome
No,
to
that's
another
Petey's.
edition of the PSNORKIS podcast, and yeah. Now the last one, we got into some stuff right away so fast we never even got our chance to do our any type of history lesson. So we're gonna delve
we're
into
gonna start
a
with some history.
Yeah, let's see what happened this day of history.
This week in
what day are we
history.
at? What week are we in now?
Well, I'm going to start with a Challenger explosion, and that was January
that was a
28th,
joke.
1986.
I remember exactly where I was when I heard that. Yep.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I was in school. They wheeled that ATV card in.
Did they really?
Well,
Yeah,
they,
they did.
remember
Because of the first
teacher
in space. So they had it
all these kids
televised.
got to watch that live. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then
watched it
their parents
live,
got
too.
to explain what,
Yeah.
what actually
Because
happened.
we didn't
Yeah.
know what
Yeah,
happened.
like the big fireball in the sky didn't say
Well,
enough.
if you're 7 years old, you probably don't know what that is. You know that what was
I
happening.
think they pretty much knew that something bad happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
There not too much explanation was needed
They
for
just
that.
came over and turned the TV off.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay,
They
everyone go
walked
back to
over and
class.
turned the TV.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty much
Well, it
exactly
was
what
in our
happened all
class.
over Mo. Yeah.
I was homesick that day, and I just happened to watch it. It just is like burned in my memory. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Now, they had us all down in the cafeteria, the whole school, and they had all these carts out, and everybody watched it live. It's
I'm
terrible.
so surprised that they turned it off because when 9/11 happened, all of our teachers turned the TVs on.
But
No,
you
that
have
was
to remember.
how many years later?
Yeah.
20 years
Yeah,
later.
that's a
We're
lot.
talking
I
1986
feel like it's just as
to
tragic,
19.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It
just as
Very
traumatizing.
much
It
so.
is.
You know,
It was, but nobody really knew what happened. You know,
We knew when
the second
we
plane
hit what happened.
No, I mean when
What,
For
you
the
mean
Challenger?
the Challenger blew
Yeah.
up, they didn't know what happened.
No, they don't.
So-
They didn't know why. Yeah.
Well, they didn't
No.
even know it blew up. They were just thought it was part of it going up.
Did they
At
figure
first,
out
they thought
why?
it was just a booster that
Yeah.
exploded, and it was still
Really?
headed upwards.
Because it forked.
but
Like you could
Yeah, it was
just.
crazy.
Yeah.
you could see, one booster went this way, one
Yes.
booster went that way. Yeah, but
Yeah, things
there's
we
always
remember.
hope, I
That
guess.
was this
Yeah.
week?
So
That was the 28th, so yesterday.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Long time.
Did
Kind-
they ever figure out why that
Yes.
blew
The
up?
That
O-rings,
was one of the O-rings,
Yep.
right? Is it Mal? The
Yeah,
O-rings?
It was the big O-ring that in the different
Because of the
sections
ice.
the fuel.
It
The
didn't
big fuel
expand, or
tank.
It didn't control.
Right. Well,
something.
what happened? Yeah, exactly. It was colder than it should have been.
Right.
Nobody realized that it was colder than what these O-rings were rated for, and as a result, they had shrunk a little bit in the cold
And it started
and
to
allowed
leak.
fuel to blow by. Once the fuel started to heat up as the engines were burning,
Right.
the fuel pushed through this joint and ignited by the engines and just followed itself up to the fuel tank, and boom.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Which is extremely weird because the Soviets, they're on giant matchsticks.
Yeah, it's amazing that they haven't had more, because they're
They
more
probably
of a
have,
wing
and we just
prayer
don't know
thing.
about them. Think
Well,
about
Well,
it.
that's
They're
true.
Yeah.
restricted, media.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't talk about it.
Yeah, Daddy Putin doesn't let that get out.
Yeah.
I do think we share too much via the media. I think
And
we
that's why
all
they look-
see way too much and know too much. Like, it's not safe to let your kids watch television
No,
and
that's
see
not.
the news and stuff. It's just not.
I agree with you to a certain extent. I don't think we need to know any gory details, but I wish that we would receive news that is not biased in any
Me
way.
too.
As somebody who prides herself on critical thinking skills, I don't necessarily need to be told how to think or what to think. I just want to know what happened.
Right.
The straight facts of it. No bias, no turns, no spins. And I want to be able to make my own conclusions from
Yes.
that.
News used to be that way.
We used to
Once
have that
upon
with
a
Walter
time.
Cronkite, and then
Yeah.
as soon as you get to George Stephanopoulos, it changes.
It's done.
Well, I
Yeah,
do
a
think
bit.
that they used to sit on things a little bit and kind of figure out whether or not they wanted to broadcast them, where now everything's
And-
so in the moment.
Well,
There's
it's a
no
race.
chance
And they
to...
used to sit on
It's
things.
a race to be the first to broadcast
Yep.
it and break the story
They
now.
used to
Yes,
sit
please,
on
at
things
least.
till they got all the facts.
all the facts.
So
yes,
they could
and
put
because
the story out
and because information
correctly.
moves so much quicker nowadays.
And I blame Ted Turner for that with CNN.
Really.
Well, this is not no dig at CNN as an organization, even though they suck. I'm talking about the fact that he was the first one to come up with this 24-hour news cycle. Now everybody is in a race to report the story first. It doesn't matter. They'd rather be first and wrong than second and right.
I just don't
That's
think our
sad.
kids need to see everything that goes on. I think we do need to protect our our children's innocence for a while and not let them see everything that's going on in the world. It's hard enough to process as an adult. I can't imagine trying to sort it out as a
Yeah.
child.
I think I agree with you, but I think that the media, as we see it on the television, isn't the real threat to children's innocence. I think mobile phones are.
I think social media is.
I agree.
Yeah, they have
Well, social
access.
media is really a part of having a mobile phone.
Yeah.
They have access to way too much.
They have
way
access
too much.
to way too much, unparental guidance, supervised, no supervision access to the internet. And I mean, there's all sorts of weirdos on the frickin' internet.
Well, that took an act of Congress because people in social media platforms went to Congress and said, we don't want to be charged if something goes awry. And Congress went, you have the blessing, my children. And it's very disturbing because
There are too many protections in place, yes.
it's not just the protections. I mean, we all grew up in a time of Two Live Crew, except for the younger ones. And they said, oh, that music, Tipper Gore, when she went after,
I remember that.
she said, oh, this music is horrendous and it's satanic. And I went, are you serious? That's not what's causing it. It's not social media. It is not video games. It is how people treat each other. And you don't seem to give a damn about that anyway. So why are you caring about this? How? And it has continued. And now it doesn't matter whether it's correct information. They don't seem to care if it's correct information.
No, I said
if it bleeds, it leads.
yeah.
It does,
They
right?
Want to be first. You don't have to be right. Just have to be first.
Right.
First and
Decide.
wrong is still wrong, though.
And
That's
I
just the
never
way it
had
is.
that when I worked at the newspaper. It was you have to have 14 credible sources. And oftentimes we were last, but we got it right.
Exactly. And to me, that makes more sense. I mean, and that's worth more to me. What else we got?
Well, I'm going to go into a little bit of a woo on this.
Woo!
Yeah, woo!
Woo!
So, My niece's birthday is January 28th. And we were just discussing the Challenger explosion. My sister was getting ready. Her daughter was turning 6. And she was getting ready for a birthday party. And she did cakes, like you do cakes. Yeah. So these cakes, you don't just put it in the oven and throw some icing on it like I do. You know, she decorated these cakes. They were beautiful. So she started early in the morning. Around 8 o'clock in the morning, she's making this cake. And she's standing at her kitchen window. And she just freaks out because she just got this image of the space shuttle exploding.
I know you told me that. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she's freaking out. She knew it was going to happen. And she's trying to tell her husband, who was at home as well, that she needed to contact NASA to make them stop that launch for the day. And he's like, you can't do that. Like, she was literally having a breakdown and crying at the sink because she knew it was going to happen and there was nothing she could do. She did try to contact NASA. You don't get through in 1986. It's not like you had the...
You wouldn't get through now.
You probably wouldn't. No. But, yeah, she knew it was going to happen, and she tried to make a phone call to stop it. And she literally cried for hours after that because she just knew. No reason why. Yeah, a premonition.
Well,
crazy.
According to your mother, born with a veil.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
So,
yeah, she has abilities.
And also an amazing cake decorator. I can only hope to do
like Martha Stewart.
If I could be.
Oh, she went to jail?
She likes Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg, her best friend.
Yeah, right about two
Well,
of
I'll
them
tell you
being
what,
buddies.
her husband would have croaked, yeah.
I don't know. Her husband kind of looks like Snoop Dogg.
I think she was teaching Snoop how to grow the weeds.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, a little bit.
And
I think
if my father wouldn't have stopped your brother, she probably would have.
I'm pretty sure Martha and Snoop are growing the weeds. Mm-hmm. She's teaching them how to grow things.
Oh, yeah.
And she's selling it to friends in the Hamptons.
And they're all so happy.
I mean, I would be too if I had Hamptons money.
You know what's funny? I actually kind of like Snoop Dogg. He just seems so chill. He just seems kind of cool.
He's hilarious.
Yeah.
He has moments where you either love him or hate him. So
Yeah.
I've heard he's not a nice guy, though.
Well, not quite true. It kind of like myself, who is either loved or hated.
Okay, fair enough.
I understand the problems that he goes
Yeah.
through.
Martha Stewart likes him.
I would be friends with Snoop Dogg, but I would never be his wife because that man is notorious for cheating on his wife.
He's a hoe.
And that type of like very well-known public kind of embarrassment is not my flavor.
No.
I'm
Apparently
way too petty.
Apparently that's something for presidential positions. That's right. Your husband can embarrass you publicly, and then we're going to run for office because we did our marriage so well. We should run the country. Yes.
I know a couple of the Secret Service agents that covered a certain couple that we're talking about, and they said they might as well put a slip and slide out the back door. For both of them, male, female, it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting because I had some friends too that were part of the service there, and they had some interesting stories as well, right along the same lines.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that your sister worships him,
I know, it's
really
hilarious.
Yeah, that has cracks me up. Oh my no,
no,
Lynn.
it wasn't Lynn.
No.
It was
you have more than one
because
sister?
Oh, yeah.
I've got several.
Got
Okay.
several. Yeah.
when I was in government, we would get invitations to these dinners, and I would forward them along to one of her sisters, and I went, "You can take my place happily," because I have no interest in being part of that show.
I find that a very interesting fact. You know, we always talk about how people will flock towards people in power, and I find that to be very true with that particular couple, because looking at them objectively, neither one of them, even in their prime, were very attractive.
Oh, God, no. No way.
And
him much more so than her.
No, I completely understood. Like, when I learned that they were originally from Alabama, I was like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were probably related before they got married.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Their family tree is a wreath. So, like,
Bush.
I like that.
So honestly, like, it's always so funny to me, because as somebody who, like, I can't be with someone, I can't date somebody I don't have a mental connection with. So it's so funny for me to observe these people who are attracted to these people simply because they're in power. Because I've heard them talk, I'm not impressed. Mm-hmm. I've looked at them with my eyes, felt like I should get a refund.
Like
I wear glasses. Like, I literally paid to see this. I'm like, well, I
And
don't want.
I don't think they're attracted to one another. I think it was
they're
absolutely
definitely not.
It's a
They're
political
definitely
alliance.
Yeah, I
not.
agree.
And you know
Absolutely
what?
it
To
is.
be honest, I'm fine with that. I don't have any issues with that. It's
No,
only
you-
very recently that
you can
marriage has
understand.
been between two people who love each other and not for business purposes
Oh, yeah.
or survival.
Power, you know.
Well, I mean that's part of it too. Is like
Well,
that would
doesn't-
be
My father used to say, "Money marries money."
to keep money with money.
Not
Right.
true.
Not always
now,
true, but years ago.
No, even now.
You know,
I mean, it's okay to marry your second cousin if you're going to keep the
Is it?
posh.
Is it?
If you want to keep, you know, you want to keep your stuff.
You want to keep your name?
That's true.
she's been married 3 times and she never had to change her name. You might be a redneck.
You might be ready.
You know, you think about it
Save
because
so much money on that though.
it's not just the money. It's the fact that it's hard to relate to somebody who has not been in your position.
Right.
It doesn't work.
Right.
And as much as I would love to believe in love and fairy tales, it doesn't work.
My father was born in 1929, and I was told a story that he married into the Anheuser-Busch family, and her family had that marriage annulled because he wasn't from the right kind of a
Oh,
family.
that happened a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my
Yeah, you
father
gotta
was
go.
educated.
Yes,
he
he
was not a
was.
stupid
No,
man.
he was not.
He just wasn't from money. He didn't come from that kind of money.
Well, there's old money and there's second generation
There's new money.
and
Yeah.
new money.
And there's no money.
And there's us.
There's no money.
That would be us.
But yeah.
You
So
know, in most terms, you know, Leah and I are almost second generation, and you look at people differently sometimes, and you're going, what the hell are you thinking? Because that's not how society works. That's not how life works. And they're like, oh, we're new money, floom, 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 passing out the dollars. And you're like, no, you're still not getting in. I mean, if you've seen that show, The Gilded Age, that is typically how things went. I mean, our grandfather, obsessed with Anna Pavlova. And I appreciate it because I was accepted to Joffrey Ballet. And you look at it and go, my great-grandfather, loved opera. He loved the ballet. Those are things that he was passionate and interested in. I mean, this is a man who spoke
5 languages.
5 languages and got the newspaper every day in our language. And it was not ever going to happen that he was going to be, you know, posh. But he was smart. He was talented. And people didn't think that. But you look at him now and people go, oh my gosh, he spoke that many languages. I'm like, I speak 3 languages and I am still not posh enough to hang out in that crowd. I'm not Jewish enough, or I'm not that type of Jewish enough, or I'm not that type of Polish enough. That's ridiculous.
That's your problem. But you and Petey, according to you, could still get married. So
She
you're
is married.
No, to you. All right.
I know who she's married.
no, they're
I was
first
there for
cousins.
this.
Thank you.
She said
was
second
there.
cousins, not first cousins.
Yeah.
Oh, aren't you second cousins? Oh.
You know, I forget where I heard this quote, but it was always something that stuck with me. And it sounds very unflattering at first, but if you think about it, I think it doesn't sound bad. Marriage is for business, dating is for love. Now, that
true.
sounds horrible, right? That sounds very clinical. That sounds very cold. But the odds of somebody having a marriage like Madman and Petey's, where there's love and both parties are responsible, is really, really slim. In all honesty.
It's sadly,
it truly is.
It is.
It's rare.
It
But
is.
you can date whoever you want, and if you love that person, fantastic. You should be enjoying who you're dating.
You're not. It's not dating. It's a dalliance.
It could be formally dating.
I don't see how.
You guys are crapping on the entire marriage.
No, it's not having a
Sanctity of
marriage.
marriage
Yeah,
doesn't
the whole
exist
thing
here.
It's not, because marriage is a contract.
Yes. So
Okay.
here's the thing: is like you can love someone, you can date someone, and you can absolutely love that person, but recognize that they are a disaster to be married to. Marriage is very much a business decision. Marriage is one of the biggest financial decisions a person will ever make. If you're married to
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
who is a gambler, for instance, I can
Yeah,
tell you
you're ruined.
firsthand how very quickly your credit, how very quickly you will not be able to buy a house, how very quickly struggling to buy groceries every month will become your very lived-in daily reality. Dating is for love, marriage is for business.
Well, you get that red flag when you're dating. Oh, this guy might, or this girl might be.
No, you don't always know.
No, people are
Because
remarkably
yeah.
hide
adept.
things.
There and be a marriage.
Yeah.
They
People are
still have to
remarkably
crawl up
adept
on
at
top of
hiding.
the desk
Yeah.
to-
Yes,
to file the
I agree with that.
Wow.
I don't
We
want to
are-
get hit because you two are going to fuss.
We are now, what, 60 years into the process of we're going to live with somebody before we marry him. I mean, that started in the
that's true.
60s, right?
That's true.
So,
Did it?
yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Before
Yeah, we
that,
burned
it was,
our bras
it was
and decided
well
to test
unheard
drive
of,
anything we
yes.
were thinking about marrying or keeping long term.
Good for them.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you for that.
Hallelujah.
yeah. I mean, good for us. And you tell your kids, find people who have like goals, like values, like interests, like upbringings.
Like $1 million.
That, no,
Like
because
7.5.
because,
Yes.
money,
Like
because
totally.
money
Like
doesn't
7.5.
because money doesn't fix everything. As a matter of
No,
fact,
but
a
you
lot of
can
times
pick
when
your
you've
own
got it, it
misery,
causes
though.
a lot of problems.
I have
But
a
if you-
hard time crying in a Mercedes compared to on a bicycle.
I agree. I agree.
I agree too, but somebody with
too.
money, somebody that's been raised with money, meets up with the girl who's had to work her ass off for everything she's got.
Oh, God,
and
it's
you
so annoying.
And you try to give him your values when he has no clue.
No.
Right.
Oldest daughter is married, an only child who parents gave him everything. She's the oldest of 6. Do you think they don't bang heads on a
Oh,
regular?
Yeah.
Probably.
On a regular.
and,
Probably.
and morals. I dated someone who was just I've had a job since I was 14, 15, and he did not work for a year. And I was like, oh, it's not. And I was just like, oh, that's fine. Like
That's cute.
I was like, oh, work for you. Like
I'm
it's fine.
nice.
And I made so many excuses for him. And then and in hindsight, like now I'm like, what were you doing? Like, what were you doing? Because, but never once did I pay for him to do something because that's not my job. I'm not your mother. I'm your partner. And love is blind.
Yeah, love is blind.
It is.
There it is.
Speaking of marriage being a contract, though, did you guys know Amelia Earhart had a contract with her husband when she married him?
A prenup or a
At that
contract?
time, yes.
It was a contract. In the contract, a prenup, but it wasn't really a prenup because
Those are air
it was
quotes.
it was an air quote. Air quotes there. And in the contract, it stated that if she did not feel anything for him in a year, if she didn't love him in a year, because she understood that they were
she had
entering
an
this,
out.
she had an
Oh,
out. She was like,
awesome.
if I don't like you in a year, we're not doing this. Like we're done. A contract. I found it the other day on the internet. I was
That's
like,
why
this
she
is the greatest
disappeared.
thing.
She didn't feel nothing for
I
it.
had a
She's like, I'm out of here.
He did her in.
I had a contract. I was betrothed
No, I didn't know
to
that,
somebody
though.
before I was even of legal age.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Oh.
And I had to produce an heir. And this was not somebody who I was loved. And it was not somebody who I was interested in. Not somebody who even had an interest in me. I was a cute girl. Really? Seriously? So when he came to me and says, I'm in love with another Pollock, I'm like, dude, may the force be with you. Go.
Forced to you.
Did he pull up in his horse-drawn wagon?
Oh, you can hear that hit. That
I
was
hope that
beautiful.
came
Wow.
on air.
It did. It did. I could hear that.
You got
Yeah.
the slap on there?
See, I told
you
you.
married
man.
him?
Holy
No, I
crap.
did not.
You did not.
No, because he
You
was in
let
love
him,
with someone
you
else.
let him
Mom.
out of the
Under now.
contract.
Oh,
I
she had it
released
out.
He
the
said,
contract.
my
because-
heart hath love another. And she was like,
And she said, bye-bye.
Because there are some days I'm like, okay, I am in, Lionheart, and there are days that I'm going, are you kidding me? This is not the 1800s. I understand my job.
15 then?
Oh, 2 hits. 2 hits.
We knew that was a bad spot for you.
he said it when he put his chair
Hey,
there.
the mic,
I'm not
the mic
moving.
sitting between them picks up all the hits. I love
I get it. I'm only upper
You don't even
middle
need
class,
Foley.
and my only role is to marry somebody who is going to keep my station or make it better.
Right.
That was my role, is my life. And that sucked. I inherit, yes. Do I inherit millions of dollars?
That means
No.
we inherited. Oh.
Oh, 3.
But
Slap count. We got to get
it
the
makes
slap
it very
count going
difficult
now,
because
babe.
Trace.
people present themselves as something other than they will be. And they only look me out because they go, oh, you're going to inherit, and it's going to improve my fortune.
4.
It's for what you were
Quattro.
thinking.
No, I'm thinking a lot. All right.
But I'm going, that's not who I am. That's not what I want to be. And I married hell of a lot better than I could ever possibly do. But he died. And that's very hard, and it's very difficult, and I loved him, and it was great. But that's not how I wanted
So
my
you're
life to
saying
be.
it does happen.
It-
So you just contradicted your whole theory.
No.
Just saying. Oh, what?
Wow.
I think we're up to like 10 now.
Yeah, and now
The poor guy's getting double teamed.
She's not the only one hitting him now. Now Rebel's in on it.
I'm just.
Hey, if you guys want to reach across the table, all I ask is don't knock the mics over. Other than that, you can wail on his all day long.
Slide
I
him
don't
in,
give a
kitty.
fuck.
I kick him.
Under the table with ye.
It's very hard because there are people that will approach you that the only reason they want to approach you is because they think that you're going to give them this great lifestyle. And that's not the way it is. Because now I'm sitting there going, hardened by life and how things went, that I'm going, I had a nice life. I had what I wanted. And he died. And now I'm going, at this point, I'm going, either I'm going to be Elizabeth Taylor or I'm going to be a Windsor. Not sure.
Listen,
To be
Elizabeth
fair-
Taylor had a good run.
To be
Yeah.
fair,
Hell yeah, she
I
did.
have told you on a number of occasions, you look like Elizabeth Taylor.
Yes.
I think more highly of
true.
you than I do Elizabeth Taylor.
true, that
just to
too.
be clear,
Interesting.
I don't like her that much.
Well, my publisher and my editor also think I look like Elizabeth Taylor at the fluffy stage. But that's okay. I just look at people now when they come to me and go, hey, would you like to go out for a cocktail? And I'm like, why?
I'm 26 and I do that now. Do you want to go for a drink? Why?
what for?
Or they ask you out on a date and I'm like, oh, I'll just meet you there. And they're like, no, I'll pick you up. And
No, I don't think I want you to
there.
know.
I actually will not go on a date with a man unless he is willing to pick me up.
Oh, yeah, but you don't want him to know where
I
you
don't-
live
I don't wanna
unless you
know where
really
I
like
live.
I
him.
do want him to know where I live.
Yeah, there are two sides to that.
I
There are two
absolutely
sides
do
to
want
that.
him to know where I live. One, I live 5 minutes away from my mother. Two, I own guns. Three, I like to hurt people. If someone wants to come in my house, they're valuing
I
stuff.
don't want
over
anybody
their
to know
life.
where I live, like at all. I went on a date with this guy. He was like, I'm going to pick you up. And I was like, no, I'll just meet you. And he's like, no, I'm going to pick you up. And I was like, Mom, what do I do? What do I do? Because I don't. And it was fine. He didn't try and kidnap me or anything, but he did get weird afterwards. And then
See, it's a
all
good thing
get
then.
weird.
Yeah.
And then when he got weird, I was like, what am I going to do?
You got to get weirder. Bark at him.
He knew where I
usually
worked,
have
my
I'm not
jobs that I never told him, where I worked,
Ooh,
when
that's
I was
creepy.
working. I'm like,
That's crazy.
do you know that?
See,
Who
That's
told
creepy.
you?
Yeah.
It was
See, to
bad.
be fair, from my perspective, the reason why I don't worry about it is one, I'm a gun owner. Two, I own a lot of knives. I am very violently inclined. It's only
And
recently
your
that
mother's well connected.
Yes. It's only recently in my life that I haven't been quite as feral as I normally am. Like I wear pants in public and I've stopped hissing at people in stores.
And you're not allowed to bite anymore.
And I'm no longer allowed to bite because otherwise I don't get fried chicken. So there's been some negotiations.
I mean, I just feel like, listen, I know nobody would ever get past Mom.
No.
No, like if somebody was coming for me, like that would
I
be
wouldn't
it.
want Rocket to be casually mad at me. Like, never mind me going after one of her children.
Right.
Like, oh,
And my
no, I'll
dad
just choose a
is-
better death. Like,
He's phenomenal. He would never let anybody hurt me. We have dogs that would never let anybody in the house, and my uncle lives next door.
I was going to
And-
say, and your uncle's a cop.
Yeah, so like, and I know nothing bad would ever happen to me, but like, I watched so many crime documentaries.
Me too.
And I watch a lot of
can happen.
I watch a lot of Criminal Minds, and I watch Law and Order SVU. Like it's bad. So I'm like, oh my god, this person could, they could just sneak in my window at night. My brother taught me how to sneak out of the house through my bedroom window. It's not that hard to get back in. I'm like, he could chop me up into
Listen,
little
Mom.
pieces, and that would be it.
see, maybe that's part of the difference there is you'll watch those crime documentaries and I watch Snapped.
Snapped.
Love Snap.
Listen,
Snap is fun.
It's like a how-to video.
It's pretty much an
It is.
instruction manual.
sometimes
You're watching the end of the bad stories, and I'm watching the beginning of a woman's redemption. We're coming at this from two different perspectives.
he chewed his food too loud, so I slit his throat.
He had it
Take it
come
in.
in. He had it come in. He has only himself to blame. Mouth breather.
If you pop that gum one more time,
So
and he
lock
did.
tango.
So I popped him 10 times.
Well, we had an incident where my oldest daughter had called me and there was a problem. And a police officer had arrived and he was blowing her off. And I went, who is the MDJ here? And he goes, oh, it's this person. I said, oh, okay. I used to race with him. I'll call him on his cell. And he's like, do you have a cell? And I'm like, pulled up my cell. I'm like, yeah, I got his cell. And suddenly he treated my daughter differently.
Interesting.
And I don't like doing that, but when it comes to my offspring, I have no problem going, You will drive past our child's house. You will make sure not only one, that the outside lawn is correct, but you will make sure that she is safe. Because if I have to get up, and I don't like getting up late at night, well, I don't mind, but I mind early mornings. And if I have to drive past there, I am not going to be a happy camper. So I had no problem calling the judge's mother and going, we're going to tea.
I just feel like, men can be crazy. Like, I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy.
I can help.
Anybody can be crazy.
I can give you lessons.
It has nothing to do with sex.
I am an insane specialist.
Don't take
You
lessons.
possess the DNA. Trust me.
No, I know
When
that.
there's a will,
Oh, yeah.
I
there's
know
a way.
that. I know that. I know I possess the DNA. I know I've got it in there. It's been out like a couple times, but listen, I don't need people to know where I live at all.
And that's
I'm good.
okay. If
Yeah,
that's
that is
what-
okay.
If that's perfectly fine that you don't.
No,
Yeah, that
that's
really
fine.
is. Like, everyone has the right to set boundaries for themselves
right,
of
they
what
do.
makes them feel
Some
comfortable.
people are more comfortable with things than
Yeah.
others. Yes.
Like the
I
way
also
that-
like being able to take myself to and from a place. I don't want to be beholden
You don't
to
wanna be stuck
anybody.
there, right?
Right.
Yeah,
You don't
Right.
get stuck there.
To,
See, I'm not afraid of being stuck there. Not in today's day
well, I
of
would never
Uber
be. I
and
would
Lyft
never
and
be
things.
stuck.
Yeah.
But there's just a sense of
Again,
control
crime
having my
documentaries, I
own
can't.
set of
Yeah.
wheels.
And besides, I had one that got mad at me and left me stuck behind, and that's where I met Petey. So,
Listen, I'm hoping that happens to me because that might be the only way I ever make it down the aisle again.
so boy, did she
I've
feel
seen
like
it
a
work in
fool.
one example, so I mean, I don't see why it couldn't work for me.
No, but there is no point in anybody at this table, if they call me and says, I am stuck somewhere, I will roll out of my pajamas, put on a cocktail dress.
Yes.
I think any of us at this table would
Yeah.
do that for the
Load
other,
3 firearms,
except for the
and I will-
I'm not-
cocktail dress
I'm not
because
changing out of
I'm just too
sweatpants.
fat.
But
I'm
All right,
not
so
changing.
we should
Once I put
expect
the
you in
nighttime
sweatpants and a ponytail.
Once I put the
can do that.
nighttime sweatpants
do
on,
sweatpants.
like I'm retired from looking good that evening. I'll come out and help. I have no problem with that. I'll come out and
just not
bark
gonna
at
look
someone.
good
I
doing
don't
it.
care. I'm just going to be
I will
hideous.
look
Literally
phenomenal
bark.
doing it.
Literally. I will literally look like the dog.
I will show up in a cocktail dress and a tiara because if I have to expressly
Packing.
pull out my firearm, you bet your ass I'm going to make it look
That
worth my
mugshot's
while.
going to be pretty.
My sister was, my uncle is a PI, and my sister was going to do what he did. And she was like, if I'm going to carry a gun, I want it to be a pink Hello Kitty gun. She was like, why?
have one of
Because
those.
I feel like there's something really powerful about being shot with a Hello Kitty gun.
It's more offensive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, nobody.
comes in
Not only did I shoot
yeah.
your, I shot
got
you with
you
the
out
Hello
with a
Kitty.
Kitty gun.
Goodbye,
ain't
kitty.
no,
Boom,
ain't
boom.
no gangbanger going to be bragging about that.
No.
Pull out a Hello Kitty gun.
I peed my
It
pants.
comes in at 50 and it looks fabulous and it matches my nails.
There we go.
There you go.
And this is how we got from the discovery, the blow up of the shuttle to Hello Kitty
It
guns.
just happened.
Oh, wow.
That's how it happens.
It just
That's what I like
happens.
about this show.
No, we really do. We go on a magical adventure.
Yeah.
We cover
Yes, we
like
do.
20 different topics.
Maybe we have magic people.
Oh,
seven.
we do.
Seven
Seven of us.
people.
7 magic
Oh my
people.
God!
Here we are.
And none of
gonna
us
be
are
the
that short
7
except Doc.
magical creatures.
Oh wait, I think he's taller than me.
He's in the chair.
Disney.
The chair is nearly to the top. Let's let him pretend to be tall. I do
feel
it with
tall.
the cats.
I feel
put him
tall.
up on the
It was
table and I'm like,
great
you're
when
tall.
I feel pretty.
Meow.
Maybe. Meow.
Yeah. You feel the love here. Could you feel the love? Yeah.
There is a lot of love here. You know,
There's
I
a
was
lot
thinking
of
about
love.
this the other day.
Touch the step stool for the
That
table.
was
Yeah, what more do you want?
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about this the other day because one of my friends lost one of their close friends. It was super. I didn't know that person, but they'd been close for years and years and years. And one of the things that makes me so happy, even though we're all like sharing this mortal timeline together, is the fact that we're gonna have these to look back on and to listen to for a really long time. Like, there's times where I'll have like a real just I'm done with everything kind of moment. And those are the moments where I'll put on this podcast because it's honestly, it takes me back to being here surrounded by my friends, surrounded by some of my favorite people. And it's just, it's so powerful and amazing
it's
to be able
fun.
to have that.
Yeah,
like, it
it's
just
fun.
makes me really grateful to be able to
Yeah,
do this. Like,
same.
having other people listen to us, you know, that's great. I'm grateful for our listeners in every single country. But the real thing that I cherish here is the fact that we're making these memories and that I'm going to have these for years to come.
I agree with
Like,
that.
This is very special to
I
me
very
for
much
that.
look forward to when we can get everybody together. Yes.
Yeah, the banter's fabulous.
It really is.
It really is.
Like, I can't do this stuff
And we'll-
at work.
and we'll
People get
ta-
afraid of me
And
then.
we'll talk about just about anything. Petey, on Tuesday when Doc and I were together, one of the things that got brought up, just the way we're talking, was your late brother's experience down at the pond.
Yeah, we spoke of pond.
And I told her sometime when we get into
Yeah.
that one with the
I'll have
UFOs and
to
stuff like
talk
that,
about that
you can
for
give more
him.
detail. But I gave him quick, and I said, your parents actually saw
it.
this thing as it took off and
Yeah,
left.
they were coming down the
They
street.
were coming down the street, coming home.
Yeah.
When
The
it-
pond where I learned how to skate, where
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
sister put a puck
He
in
would,
front of me
and he
30
would,
people
he wouldn't,
charged
he
at me.
wouldn't talk about it, and
Ever.
his friend wouldn't talk about it either. It was he and his friend that were down there.
Yeah, they were fishing down at that
Yep.
little pond down below my mom's house.
Sounds like a great way to segue into conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
Let's
we've
go.
done that
Pond.
too, but that's actually
It was
UFO.
a real pond because I learned how to skate on it, and I suck at this height
And
on ice.
I've been there and I've walked down there to look around it. It's
Oh,
not
yeah,
a
it's pretty.
particular. It's pretty
A little
pond.
small.
Beautiful.
It's not a
Small.
particularly large pond, so
Nope.
that just makes me wonder of what was an interest down there.
Yeah, what was the interest?
Yeah,
Water,
unless
maybe, but it was
or
so small.
Or it was your brother and his friend that were of
Or his-
interest.
yeah,
I,
Who knows? They
that's
saw.
creepy as
All right, it was a UFO that they saw, and it opened up. And they were down at this little pond. It's a very small pond, and they were fishing. My brother was about 16, and his friend was a year younger.
And it's only
And
like
his friend was Nibby.
about
and my
100
brother was
yards
Beaver.
from the house, if that. It's not even a football field away
How
from the
on
house.
earth did he get that nickname? Let's roll back and discuss that a little
I
bit.
think he was born with it, basically, when he was delivered. And he came out. My mother had a very hard time delivering him. And he looked like a beaver. That's what the nurses said. He looked like a beaver.
I would straight
And
up
he
punch a
was-
nurse who would say that
Yeah.
about my
I would
kid.
be like, yo, take pics.
Be like, come here. Come here a
he
little
was the
closer and say
kindest
that a little
person
louder.
you could ever imagine.
Did you say beaver?
And he was super kind.
Father, you're going to go in timeout.
He was the nicest guy.
And
He
I
really
can
was.
tell you that if anyone ever bothered you, he would beat the crap out of them
what
without
I heard too,
even.
yeah.
Yes.
Who was it? Beaver and who?
Nibby.
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 Okay.
I don't know how Nibby got his name.
Did they come out chewing pieces of wood? Like, what happened?
I don't
No,
really
it was
know.
I'm
black
genuinely-
root and licorice. I can tell you
genuinely-
that.
Remember, that's Western PA. Everybody has nicknames
Yeah,
out there
this
too.
is Redneckville, you know?
Yeah.
This is
fine.
just
Nibby.
this side of
Nibby.
Pittsburgh by about an hour.
So they saw this
Yeah,
UFO.
so Nibby
Yeah.
and Beaver.
They saw
are
this UFO and it came over where they were fishing. They're fishing at this little pond below my mom's house, and it flew over, and they saw the bottom of it opening up, and they booked it. And my brother was a very fast runner, and he made it back to the house before his friend. They both booked, but he left his friend behind. And I think it was one of those where, all I have to be is a little faster than you, and they
Right,
can
I don't
get
have to be
you.
faster than the bear.
Yeah.
I just have to be faster than you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
And my parents were coming home from the grocery store at the time, so they were coming down the street, and they also witnessed this UFO. And I don't know what it looked like. I don't recall. My mom, I can't ask her because she's not all there anymore. But that was a story I grew up with. And he never would talk about it. Like you'd mention it, scared him to death. He would not talk about it.
That was the only time?
Yep.
Crazy.
So weird.
Nibby. I wonder what Nibby ended up doing.
Committed suicide.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I told you they're
my
both
God, I'm so
gone.
sorry.
They're both gone.
Wow, that's horrible.
Yeah, it affected them.
That's terrifying. Mm-hmm. You ever see things in like the corner of your eye? Do you know that there's like that's
Oh, like
a
the
real
shadow
thing.
people?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One of my friends sent me an article on shadow people because I have the corner behind my door in my room is just completely dark all the time, and like that's where the shadow people lurk. And I'm like, the what? I was like, oh, you never read about shadow people? And I'm like, no. Why would anybody look that up? Like,
Yeah,
oh, let me look up
yeah, you
shadow
don't-
people.
you
That
don't go
sounds
looking-
great.
trust
So
me, don't go
hey,
looking for
all right,
that
as
type of
somebody
trouble.
as somebody who has
No, don't go
insomnia
looking for that trouble.
that most frequently occurs between the hours of 2 and 4 a.m.
Oh, the worst.
Like I get it. I get why they looked that up because I got to tell you at that time like rational thought is out the window.
Oh, hell yeah, it
That's
is.
gone. That's not there at that moment. There's just me and my ADHD impulses. and I'm riding that train.
So they say like when you see things like in the corner of your eye, they're actually there.
Yeah.
And I'm actually scared. Like I'm actually gonna see something
Did you just
when I
see
turn.
Here, check
The
this.
thing-
We have
thing that
seen
I think
shadow
is-
people.
Check,
Here?
oh, no, that's what we love about this house.
No,
is
this
the
house is
fact that
clean.
This house is clean.
Courtney's house is
because
not clean.
I
My
have
black house.
I have grown up with some stuff. Your mom knows the story. Sometime I'll tell you. I won't
Oh,
tell
in
her.
the White House?
No. Oh no.
Because that
there's-
house is terrifying. I don't care what
No,
anybody
don't
says.
don't be afraid of that.
Nope.
There's nothing in there that's going
Oh,
to hurt
there's
you.
absolutely. Oh, not that's gonna hurt. You, but
Nothing's-
there's absolutely something.
No.
there.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
No,
there's
there-
something
there's
there.
stuff that's there,
There's-
but it's nothing that's going
There's
to hurt
three.
you.
There's three
Yeah.
somethings there in in that house that I grew up in.
Well,
But
can we tell
there's
there's something that
nothing-
like breathes on me when
but
I'm in the
there's
bathroom?
nothing-
Like
Oh, I never.
that. I'm like I'm
Now, see,
good. Thanks.
I never had that.
Oh my god, terrifying.
But then again, I'm a guy. Maybe it's I don't know.
Could be a
Maybe
guy
it's a
ghost.
dude.
It,
Right,
I don't
yeah.
think it's necessarily
But no, there's
sex-based.
there's
I
not-
think
there's
it's
nothing-
abilities based.
There's
Yeah,
nothing.
she's tuned in. She has been her whole life.
That house. I came from a house that was to be feared when I moved to that, and that house I always felt safe in.
I'm like, wow, this is like
Okay.
Dreamhouse Barbie compared to Barbie
yeah.
Dreamhouse compared to what you were in.
Well, it was cool because if I was home alone, I never felt alone,
But not scared either.
but not scared. I always felt like somebody was looking out for me.
That's how I feel in our house.
I completely
Okay. Well, yeah, that's
understand that.
probably
Yeah.
either your grandfather or your great grandmother.
My great grandmother, yeah.
And my grandfather died in that house, and my Nan's sister died in that house.
So I actually grew up in a house that
Because
was
I
very
know,
similar.
I remember both of them. I remember Nan.
So I grew up in a house that was very similar, and I think you and I have talked about this, like the house of horrors, essentially, that I grew up in. I could have friends call in and talk about, because I've actually had friends witness the stuff that has happened in the house that I grew up in, my house of origin. It was extremely dangerous. It was extremely traumatizing for a very long time. As somebody who is somewhat gifted, I hate using that term. Gifted,
I hate
but-
because it's
I
not
like-
a gift.
I like tuned in.
Sorry, I don't
tuned
think.
in. I like
in.
that
It's not a
better.
gift.
Yeah,
And
I
it
like
is.
that
You're
much
tuned
better.
in.
Yeah, as somebody who's definitely a little bit more tuned in, it's not unusual for things to find me. But when you're in a bad house and that house spits out a Ouija board and a bunch of other crap, it tends to get.
Did you spit out a Ouija board? You just like
Yes.
found it one day?
Yeah, so what happened is we moved into this house on my 6th birthday. We
Okay.
moved from Lodi, New Jersey, and this was with my biological parents before I was adopted. And we moved in on my 6th birthday, and my biological parents had a lot of struggles. They struggled a lot with addiction. They struggled a lot with trauma also, which is why I will always uphold the belief that trauma is the root of addiction.
Yeah.
It's not addiction, it's trauma, it's pain.
I believe that. Okay.
But this house, now I was 6 when we moved in. My younger biological brother was 4. There is no way in hell my parents would have ever purchased us a Ouija board. My father, when he was sober, I went to Catholic girls' school. He was a very dedicated, devout Catholic.
Yeah,
then
no,
you would not have
There
had
is
a
Ain't no
no
Ouija
way.
spirit boards allowed in
There
that
is
house.
no way.
Hell
And
no.
I don't even remember 99% of the stuff that happened in my house, in that house, but I happened to be talking to a friend of mine who I've been friends with since elementary school, and she's like, "Yeah, do you remember the Ouija board?" And I'm like, "The what? The what now? The what?"
Because sometimes your mind protects you from things like that.
There is
yeah.
a lot of my childhood that I don't remember, and to be honest, I'm not rushing to go find it. I'm a mother now. I hold a stable career. I own my home. I own my car. I'm not, I'm a dependable family member. I'm not. There's nothing in my past that's holding me back from being able to love in my present and give to the people who I love and adore. I don't need to know what that is. If it's something my mind decided to flush, you know what? I'm pretty sure my mind knows what it's doing.
It was like,
I'm
yeah,
all
let me
right.
help you out.
I wish my
Hey,
mind
we're
would
gonna
flush
amnesia
mine.
this. Goodbye.
I wish my mind would do that to my.
So,
to
there's
mine.
stuff that I
I'd
do
love to
remember.
not
There's stuff that
remember
I don't. My biological brother, he and I will talk, and there's pieces. It's so weird to talk to him sometimes about that house, because I'll remember one piece and he'll remember another piece, and then together we'll look at it and we're like, wow, this was horrifying. Let's never do this again. It's really interesting how that kind of works in people. But I grew up in very much a similar kind of nightmare house. And the house that I live in now is definitely occupied by more than just human spirits. But even the first moment I bought that house, even before, now I'm a member of a coven, I had my high priestess come in and literally cleanse the house just to make sure, because I'm not signing up for that again. I felt like it was good, but just in case, I wanted somebody who had, that kind of power, that kind of experience to come through and make sure. I even the first night I sat in that house after I signed the closing papers, I did not feel alone, but I didn't feel afraid. Mm-hmm. And that was so nice.
That's how I was.
That was such a nice
That means
feeling.
that means there's
Next door
spirits,
to you,
but
yes.
there's kindred spirits.
Yeah.
They know who you are
Yeah.
and they've accepted you in their space.
Yeah.
Well, I make people think I'm crazy too, but I'll talk out loud in my house. I'm like, all right, guys, we're gonna make this house look great. Like I talk out loud about making improvements to the house, benefiting the
Yes.
house, caretaking the house.
I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
good that comes from that.
I think
Well, the
so
house
too. Like
carries
honestly,
it will hold energy. The
Yeah.
house will hold energy. So you want
Absolutely.
to, make it aware that
Yeah.
you're, the things that you're doing are to beautify it and make it more.
and I think
homey.
having that sort of ability to honor the house and caretake the house and be really open about that helps the spirits that are tied to that house be real chill with me too. Because I'm not looking to destroy anything. I'm not looking to make a mess. I want to make it comfortable for everybody. There's been times where I've heard stuff noisy kind of in the house and I'm like, are you serious? It's
I do
2
that.
a.m.
I do that. I'm like,
2 a.m.
Not today. Thanks.
Yeah.
though.
It chills right. And you know what? I haven't heard anything real crazy in the middle of the night. And not that it was ever crazy or scary. It was just noisy. And I was like, no, decline. No, thank you.
Hard pass.
Yeah. To the left.
3 to 3:30 is the
Witching hour.
basically yes.
Yeah. And if
Yeah.
there's stuff that I need to ask and I don't, if there's stuff I need to remember or if there's stuff I need to know about, I'll purposefully ask it at that time and then go to sleep and I'll figure it out via a dream later.
Ask them for the lottery
Well, that's cool.
numbers.
Right? That's what
You know what? After reading about how many people are cursed by winning the lottery, I don't want anything to do with the lottery.
I'd
God,
take
like
the
the people
chance.
that just die because they
Yeah.
announce it. Like, I'm good. If I won the lottery, I wouldn't tell anybody.
Right.
I wouldn't either.
I'm
Sorry.
fortunate because where I grew
Especially
up
you,
is-
husband.
It's not in
shook
the
his head. He's like,
contract,
okay.
Madman.
Wow.
It's not in the contract.
Where I grew up as a teenager, we had a very weird encounter, and plus where I work is even more of an
Oh,
enigma.
you were. Oh, hell yeah.
Where do
Now,
you work?
I own my own business, and I run a facility which is haunted, and it is fabulous.
We'll tell you off air.
I'm kind of terrified, but okay. I'm
No,
ready.
it's not bad.
It's not bad. She is very happy with certain people. She is
You know who
not.
she is?
I sort of
Well,
know who
we
she
say
is.
she is the building.
Oh, okay.
I
basically.
say she is the building because when my ex-son's fiance pissed her off, I was the one that had to.
I did not like her.
Yeah, I didn't like her either.
Neither did the building.
Neither did the building.
The building likes me.
The building likes you. The building likes most everybody. If I'm there, but there are
Except
certain
when
times,
the fire alarms go off.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help you out. It's like, do you want a short day today? I got you.
I got you.
No, we'll,
So the
okay, we'll
building
tell you
we
that one
got
off
this.
air, too,
has
yeah.
days that you go, get out.
Oh my God.
And which is terrifying to most people.
Yes.
And I'm like, you need to stop.
I got
You
goosebumps.
know, I brought gifts. Yeah, I'm gonna make you pretty. Relax. And normally she's very good with that. And there are times that she's like, she feels like a Scotsman walking past with, both fingers up going, yeah, I've had enough.
Which is their equivalent of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the British equivalent of that.
I can't tell you. It's so funny to me sometimes, since being like adopted by your family, how much stuff I've picked up on that has now become an unconscious part of my life. Because instead of going down, like if someone, cuts me off in traffic, instead of
You're
going like
doing the
this,
two fingers, so
instantly
Two
I'm like
fingers.
this, and they're like, "Oh, peace." I'm like, "Nope."
Wrong way.
Peace.
Yeah,
You
you're
think
right.
it's
That's
peace,
peace.
but it's
Peace
not.
on you all.
It looks like
not
peace,
like
but
the
I
peace
also
is like
smile
peace.
when I'm mad. So good luck.
It's very frustrating because there are times that she's like, I don't really like these clients, make them go away. And there are times she's like, I got you. And you have to deal with it. And it's the same way when we bought the Black House. It was,
The Black House is when you were a teenager.
Yes.
It was the house your parents bought and you.
I got stuck with it.
Yeah.
house
That
haunted
was
as
creepy.
well? That one's
Oh,
creepy.
that one was bad.
That was very creepy.
It was dark.
Like
Black
I had to
House.
put a sign up. I'm like, may the lion and the lamb bless you and give you peace at all times. And it's like, "Nyeh, and you're like, okay, how do I do? But I could never go into the new section of the house. And it was very frustrating because people come in and are like, your house is creepy. I'm like, welcome to my world. What am I going to do? I don't have a choice.
Or worse, they would say, no, there's nothing going on here. And it was because the spirits were in the old part of the house and not the new.
Yeah. And that's where all the bedrooms are. And everybody's like, I haven't had a decent night's sleep since we moved in. I'm like, stop pissing them off.
They used to say that about my best friend lived in Forks Township with us. Mm-hmm. And then she moved away, but her house really freaked me out. And one time they were away on vacation, and I was like house sitting for them, taking care of Oliver and just whatever. And I was in the living room waiting for her brother was coming home early. I was waiting for him to come home, and I'm sitting on the couch, and I hear like pitter patter across the room from like the kitchen to where the bedrooms are. And I was like, Ryan? I knew he was not home. I knew he wasn't. I was just trying to like calm myself down. No answer. And then I see it just zoom past, and I was like, oh no, we're not doing this today. Absolutely not. I called my friend Emily, who used to live next door, but she was like down the street, and I was like, you need to get here now. There's something here. She's like, oh my God, the little old man. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And she was like, yeah, there's a little old man. He lives there. Like, Jenny talks to him sometimes. She's like, I saw him when I was there doing homework one time, like out of the corner of my eye. He was just watching me, and I just ignored him. And I was like, I'm sorry. You knew about him and you just let me here by myself?
That isn't cool.
And he just like tormented people when he just was bored, I think. Mm-hmm. He was harmless, but...
Still, don't you think you should be told about something like that if you're going to sit into a house and, watch it for somebody?
I feel like it was mentioned, but I was like, haha.
Oh, okay.
See,
Yeah,
I
it's always that way
mention
till the first time.
Yeah.
Trust
I
me.
would never mention it to somebody, and here's why. Some people don't know that about themselves until they experience it on their own, and I view it as a gross violation for me to sort of rip that off of, like, almost that ability to see, like, force someone to have that. Mm-hmm. Like, that to me comes across as really, like, boundary violating.
You're just going to get them. Ha-ha, you're going to watch my house and you're going to get it.
I don't mention it to people,
or they
honestly,
might
at
not
all.
because they have no
some
sensitivity
people might
whatsoever.
not.
Like
They
your
might
aunt
have-
didn't see anything or notice
Yeah,
anything.
some people might not have
No,
that
she
ability
didn't,
to,
except
and some
for
people
those couple
just
of
don't
times
have that
with you and
turned
me.
on.
Oh, you mean like the whole downstairs?
Yeah, the
No.
whole downstairs.
Is that the house you're talking about?
No.
My aunt's house over there in Palmer was
Definitely had
also.
something.
But we were. It was.
You saw shadows there.
It was it was summertime.
Loud noises.
Summertime.
Red eyes.
Summertime when. Well, I didn't see that. That was downstairs. I'm talking about just the ones that all three of us, including my aunt, saw. We saw. It was summertime. It was about 4:30, 5 o'clock. Mm-hmm. We were all sitting watching TV.
So it was bright daylight coming in.
It was bright
the windows.
daylight, and the one window at this particular time of year, the sunlight would come in, and that room was bright, and all of a sudden we saw down the hall that, like, it's almost like somebody walked through and across the doorway and blocked the light coming out of the room. Didn't walk in front of her, but like here's the light from the room.
And you just saw their
and somebody
shadow.
like walked through the room and just kept that light from coming through the room for a minute.
Yeah, you could see the shadow on the hall wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
I've
it was
seen
a
that
human
too.
shape.
I've seen that too in my house. I actually like that.
And then we had
I do, because there's sometimes
Then
where
we
I'm
had
like, you
one
know what,
where a
I've been
door was
alone with my
slammed.
cats for a while now.
Uh-huh.
Am I the same person as I was before quarantine? And then I'll see like the human-shaped shadow and no human, and I'm like, oh good, I'm not that crazy. Zing.
No. I like it at where I work because Malcolm can't take, or Madman can't take pictures until I'm there.
Well, no, we don't know that because I haven't been there on my own
That's an experiment.
since the 80s.
She doesn't play. She's like, absolutely not.
She doesn't like you.
Take my keys. Go ahead.
This was back in the 80s when I first got into photography. When I tell you where we try not to say too much about, so no one anyone knows where we really are.
Y'all can come find me, pick me up, take me out. I like steak.
What's up, baby? Take me out to dinner.
right.
Out to dinner, bing bong.
Fine. The mill at Monocacy Creek in Bethlehem.
I'm just gonna bleep
okay,
it out.
bleep it out. What the? Bleep that too, by the way.
That you don't say.
Don't bleep the part where I said bing bong. I think that's my shining contribution to this.
cake and a bottle of Franklin Hills.
You know where Monocacy Creek is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was back in the 80s. The water level was higher. I mean, it was really beautiful. I mean, it's still
is.
it's still nice.
Creek as
It's
well,
still
yeah.
nice, but the water level was actually below like the ties and stuff. But it used to be up, and I used to go there and shoot pictures. Whenever I would go to the other side of the creek, and I would get anywhere near that building, that old stone building, the mill, or if I would try to take a picture of that building, as soon as I turned my camera there, the battery went dead. Now, this is in the old days when it was a film camera. All the battery did was power the light meter and the shutter button.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I couldn't do shit with the camera. As soon as I turned back the other way, I could take all the pictures I wanted.
So whatever is in that mill was just like, no, I don't think so.
Now, at that point, the mill was pretty much abandoned. Nobody was doing anything with it. It had sat empty for
Now it's like all
50,
renovated now, I
60
It's beautiful
years.
now.
Yeah.
Now it's nice, and whatever's there's a lot happier because I've been there and I've taken pictures. Now, I would like to go there and take a picture sometime when Kitty's not there.
And see if it happens.
And now I don't want to go into the mill because I never went into it before. But if I could take pictures of the building from the outside.
You
Now
can
the
take my keys.
No, I don't want to go in. I want to. I want
just wants the
because
outside.
that's not replicating.
We had a
That's
conversation.
it's not that. I don't mind going. I'm not afraid to go in there by myself. I'm not replicating.
I'm afraid to go in there by myself.
I am not replicating the
So
experiment.
are my
If I
sons.
take your keys and go in, I'm not replicating the experiment because back in 1986, I didn't have access to it.
That's so
It was
weird.
from the outside. I want to replicate those exact parameters to try it now.
It's funny. My staff, when they clean, they have to also clean the elevator, which we can never get the freaking stain out.
My fault.
the stain of blood. Yeah.
Puke. Yeah,
Cute.
same thing.
Chow chow.
I think I'd rather blood.
I would have rather blood.
I'm less offended by that bodily
So
fluid.
I
Definitely
buy
number
the
2 in
good
my favorite
cleaners
list.
and send it up there. And every time it comes out this picture of a wolf and a maiden with a tear on, and I just laugh and I'm like, okay, I never have any problems because for some reason whatever's in that mill enjoys my company. I buy gifts. I have I set up.
You take
tirelessly.
care of the building.
I take care of the building and I make her happy as best.
The
I can.
buildings appreciate that.
And it just cracks me up because there are people that come into the building and are like, whatever is in here doesn't like me. I'm like, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem.
I'm not really scared. I'm not scared of them, but I'm scared of seeing them. I feel like you probably shouldn't see that, but I've been seeing them since I was a kid. So
Maybe
We're
you
gonna
should
have
see
to
that.
take you
Good.
to some places.
I see a lot of weird things.
I think as long as you fight the ability, you're going to have problems with it.
It's the worst when you're when I'm in the shower and I'm by myself and I have nothing to distract me. Then they're like, hey, remember that guy you dated in 2011? He's not doing so good. You should check on him. And I'm like, wait, I don't really want to do that. I'm good.
Really, you actually get little.
Yeah, little
Wow.
blurbs. Or I knew, when my little sister was pregnant, I knew she was pregnant before anybody wanted to tell me she was pregnant because of that.
In
I
a
knew
way,
she
that's
was
kind
having-
of
Born with
cool.
a veil?
I think we all were, all of her children.
That's actually kind of cool when you can get stuff like that. That can be useful.
I get dreams and deja vu. I can tell you when something's gonna happen. And one time I was having a conversation with someone and I was like, I already know what you're gonna say. Please don't complete that statement. And they're like, what? We never had talked about the subject before, but I had dreamed about it. And I knew
I've had
what they
that.
were, I knew what they
I've
were
had
gonna
that,
say
yeah.
to me, and it really freaked me out. And she tells me all the time, don't fight it, don't fight it. And I have no choice anymore. If I'm alone and I'm by myself, I sleep with my TV on at night because I just don't want to.
You don't want to hear stuff.
anything. Yeah.
hear 'em.
I keep. Well, I have a little tinnitus anyway, so I hate that weird
That-
whistly sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, that unsettles me, especially at night. So I sleep with a little sleep noise generator to simulate the sound of a fan.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I actually had a fan, but I
White
kept
noise.
burning the fans out because I let them run all the time. So I finally got this little thing that does the same thing, but there's no moving parts because I don't want to hear every little creak, every little tick. No, I don't. I absolutely don't. And when you learn why, you understand.
Wow, I can't wait to hear why.
It's funny you say that because I actually do sleep with TV on for the exact same reason.
I don't hear it.
The only time I've gotten it pretty good now where I have my guard up just because it's not a piece of myself I've made complete peace with yet. It's a lot. It's a lot sometimes, to be honest. I've had a very busy kind of life. There's a lot of other stuff that kind of requires my prioritization, and I'm not in the mood for like, I see dead people.
Yeah, like
no, keep it to yourself. I don't want to know.
I think that's why we all sleep. The whole family, everybody sleeps with fans on.
You do? Oh, I didn't know you did.
yeah, she has like
I have a ceiling fan and a floor.
Well, a ceiling fan doesn't really make much noise.
It's on
With the
high.
floor
Help
fan,
with
it does, though.
the floor
Oh
fan.
yeah, the floor fan
Yeah.
will. Yeah, regular
I have an
fan.
oscillating fan that goes.
It's just that little bit of white noise. It's just enough to
Just
drown
enough
out
to
all the
drown it
little
out.
stuff,
There's a-
but would let
Yeah.
you hear something major if you needed to.
There's a hum.
Yes.
There's a hum. It
Yeah.
causes a hum in the room, and
That would drive me bonkers.
You know.
I remember when I first moved
I
in.
don't want to hear everything that's going on around
That's
me.
right.
So that noise
That's
my body has
right.
become accustomed to, and it shuts
Absolutely.
me down.
Yes,
I
and yet
like
I'm still acutely aware of
TV on.
something else is there that's not
And
shouldn't
I
be
have
there.
the
Yes.
humidifier on.
Yeah. So you have noise. You do have noise.
And the CPAP, it's
Yeah,
it's
so,
a
I mean, and-
trifecta of noise.
It's strange. I never really thought about why I sleep with a fan on, but it's because I don't hear like you hear, but I hear.
I have central
Good for
air.
you.
I don't hear like you hear.
When we travel and we go on vacation, anything, I have an app on my
On my phone,
iPad.
I do.
iPad to do
Yep.
the same
Oh,
thing.
it drives Matt
Have it
nuts.
running.
I sleep with like my music and I put like my headphones in my ear, and he's like, "Why
That's
do
what
you
she
do
does.
that?
She does that.
Why do you do that?" And I'm like, "Because
Yeah.
I can't sleep in silence." And so now he like leaves music on, or because I can't sleep when it's quiet. He falls asleep so fast, and I'm just like laying there like, "Who's gonna get me tonight?"
I can't sleep when it's too quiet. I can't sleep when it's too dark.
Oh no, I love the dark. Dark doesn't scare me. Which
It
is
will
weird.
after I tell you. It will.
Yeah, it's strange. Their generation sees and knows more than I do, and the next generation down is even more tuned in. It is weird.
That is weird.
It
Oh,
is
it's so
peculiar.
weird.
I have dreams. I'll go to sleep and I'll have dreams, and they're almost like a nagging forewarning. Somebody will just show up in my dream that I haven't seen or talked to, and could be a very long time, and you have to do a check-in.
So, question for you: do you sleep like? All right, this might come as a weird statement, but I'm
No,
somebody.
she does not sleep upside
No,
down
no,
in
no,
the
no.
closet like a bat.
No. But like, as somebody who's suffered from insomnia for most of my life, like, when you lay down to sleep, do you take medication to go to
She
sleep?
does.
I do now.
You do? Okay.
She does. It doesn't
See,
work for me.
I used to not sleep, or the sleep that I would get would be so inundated with excess. I used to call that excess noise.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what was happening to me. When I actually moved in with my first ex-husband, I didn't realize there was a way to kind of shut that down, but he always slept with a fan. And I was like, oh my God, for the
It shuts
first
it
time,
down.
there's quiet in my head.
Yeah.
Like, what an exciting time.
Your hearing tunes into that
Yeah,
noise
it
and
does.
shuts everything out,
Yeah.
out around, unless you've got a baby in the house or a kid's in your house.
Again,
then you can shut down that
Yeah.
that internal noise, but still hear
but
what's
still
going
be
on
aware
around you.
of
It's so
things.
weird.
She'll tell you
Yeah.
because even with that thing on, if something makes a noise that I'm not used to, she knows I am boom, bolt awake. I'm reaching for the light switch. If not, usually my weapon too.
Yeah, I'm
Most
heavily
people are
medicated
like
to
that,
sleep
though.
right now. I'm heavily medicated
Yeah.
to sleep right now.
So am I. I
I
take.
have
problems.
a Polak problem.
Doesn't involve pierogi.
No, but if I'm Benadryl, where most people take 2, 3, 4, 6 Benadryl,
I don't know anybody that takes 6 Benadryl.
Oh, she's sitting right across from you.
it will make them very tired. However, when I take 6 Benadryl,
Makes you bounce off the walls.
I do. I bounce off the walls. I can't take noise. A fan will drive me. White noise drives me bonkers. It makes me angry. It fills me with hatred.
That's him snoring. Oh my God! When he snores
Snoring,
at night, I
will
want to kill him.
you.
Yep.
I can't take those noises. If I listen to TV shows that have gratuitous violence and other things, I'm fine. because I'm used to yelling.
And violent.
Violence.
I'm used to people screaming. It
I'm
sounds
used
great.
to people screaming. It does. It.
This
you know,
is crazy, but I put on the FBI files
Yes.
and the murder shows right out.
That's what I listen to when I'm at the gym.
No, I'm currently doing
ASMR will
Delta
send me
8
through the roof.
CBD and the equivalent to Flexerol because I'm having problems with my back.
She gave me CBD gummy to fall asleep, and I was just laying there, like my eyes are just wide open. I was like, why isn't this working? Sleeping meds do not work for me.
I sit and play chess at 3:00 in the morning.
I scroll through TikTok. It's like not okay, but it's okay.
Oh, I fall down the YouTube rabbit hole.
Oh, I love
you do.
YouTube.
Do you
I got
have-
into
do you have
cooking so
TikTok?
many different things.
I know. I
You
don't
should
do
get
any
a
of those.
TikTok. You will
TikTok
never
is
stop.
cool. TikTok is fun
won't
for
stop.
cooking and cleaning.
And cleaning. I
Yeah.
learned a lot of cleaning hacks on TikTok. How to clean out like clogged drains and like
Yeah.
best ways
need that.
to clean like stained like car mats and seats. Oh man, it's very
But
satisfying.
even during the day, I always have a TV on.
Yeah, there's
I
always
don't- I
noise.
don't- I
There's
don't
almost
like-
always noise
yeah,
in my
thank
house.
you.
Some kind of
Yeah.
noise somewhere.
Yeah,
He drives me nuts with the
can't-
TV.
I
Yeah.
can't do silence.
Currently, right now, I
Anywhere.
take melatonin, Unisom, and a
Wow.
prescription. If
And
I
you
don't,
still don't sleep.
I do sleep, but I still have nights of insomnia.
Listen to Norsemen at night. It is the call of your people.
I listen to that and I get like ready to go to war.
I feel
I'm ready to like
calm.
pillage a village. I'm like, yeah, let's go in the boat. Let's
Go!
Gonna pillage
Ready
the
for
village.
Violence!
No, I sit there
from
and I
0 to 100 in my blood. I have too
you
much
feel like
Norwegian
you're
blood.
at a Metallica concert. I'm going, oh, the sound of the people. Yay, peasants.
Because I hear them and I'm
Bring
like,
me
yeah, no, this
something.
is where I belong. Now I'm awake. Let's go farm. Let's go kill an Englishman. I don't know.
Hey,
Irish, not English.
no, Englishman, like 47%.
Listen, I'm sorry about that 47%, but we know that the Vikings were not a fan of the English.
Well,
That's fair.
It just is what it is.
Yeah,
and the
we
reason
get
why the
those too.
English did not like the Vikings as much is because the Vikings apparently seduced their women by bathing.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Imagine that.
cleaning yourself.
The Scotsmen are,
They're not big on the English.
they're not big on the English,
No.
but they are ancestors of the Vikings.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are the Irish. So are
Yes,
the
yes.
Norwegian, Finland, all the
Yeah.
Scandinavian countries.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
They were all
we
the
got all that.
Celtics.
Yeah, we got all
Italians
that.
just had a bidet.
But yeah, I don't like
That's how
I
they
don't
wash
like
their
that
faces.
silence.
Handy for when your head's stuffed up your.
Wow.
That's where the term you should have a plexiglass belly because he needs to be able to see where the hell he's going.
I don't know. The older I get, the more I wish I was a little bit stupider because those people seem real happy.
I'll just hang in there. Just saying.
I'm one head injury away from the happiest time of my life.
Hey, they want to break my jaw. Go ahead.
Oh boy.
Well, yeah, that's why I said, one day, once everyone's afraid of going out and, infecting somebody else like that, I'd like to
I'm
get your
not
friend Claire
afraid of
over here.
going
Not talking about you. I want to get Claire over here.
I'd like to get Claire over here.
and talk to her about stuff.
That was good. That's good. Let's get to more history, brother.
That an hour later, another history.
Sure, let's hit one.
All right, hit one. January 29th. This is people with disabilities gained some independence with help from man's best friend on this day in 1929. It was
love
the
my pet.
Seeing Eye Dogs.
That's when they started the Seeing Eye Dog
that's when
program?
they started. It happened in Nashville, Tennessee, and it was to assist the blind people to gain independence in everyday life.
I can tell you this much. If you are stuck on your toilet, have your dog hooked up to the lead rope and
Pull you up. Yeah.
yep. Fetch.
Was that Elliot?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Ours are too little. We need to get a real dog, not two little wannabes. We have
I have
cat
a
dog.
corgi. He'll get you off a toilet.
Just got a visual.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty.
You're welcome.
This is actually for January 30th. It is Ireland's Bloody Sunday. Does anybody know what that
Bloody
was?
It was a great song by
I-
you too.
Yeah,
I
right?
Sunday,
heard of that,
bloody Sunday.
but I don't know a lot about that.
On this day in 1972, British paratroopers killed 14 Northern Irish Catholics during a civil rights rally. The march responded to British policies against Irish nationalists. Tensions between the countries and nationalist factions within them had been growing for years. And on this Sunday, British troops also injured 17 other people. In 2010, the Civil Commission exonerated the demonstrators and blamed the troops for instigating the violence.
Well, as a former Catholic, I can just tell you.
What?
Yeah, what?
What are you going to tell us?
It's horrible being Catholic sometimes because the last time Catholics actually stood up for anything, that St. Peter, and then he got hung upside down.
It's even worse being Catholic if you're a little boy.
Stop it. Wow. And on that note.
That took a dark turn.
Wow.
Wow.
She's been waiting. She's just been waiting.
Oh, she does that. She's
She
very
does.
patient, and she will
Dun,
wait.
dun.
Ready to strike.
Dun, dun.
Wham.
I'm a shark, baby.
Dun, dun, dun.
She
Rawr.
said Catholic, and she was like, "Okay, I'm ready.
I got
I'm
this one.
ready."
As somebody who was devoutly Catholic for a large part of my life, though, like I feel like I've put in the dues to
Make
those jokes. To be honest, like I was devoutly Catholic until I was like 22, 23.
I had a sip beside her mother, and
Sippy side?
Sippy side.
Yeah, you did say sippy side. You did.
Sippy side.
My
This
son
might be
explains
the
a
only
lot.
way I enjoy church.
Somebody quick, get Kitty a drink.
Another one. Jeez.
Another one.
Alcoholics.
3 rows back and to the left, there was a
Are you
woman
sure you
who
don't
had
mean
a-
3 sheets to the wind?
No.
She was on the
mother
sippy
on the
side.
ice.
I'm sitting sippy side right now.
They're no fun.
They're not. They're not in the pro tour. There was a woman 3 rows back from behind your mother who had a full-on mullet, and I got in trouble, and I got my ear pinched because I
Wow.
dared in Holy Mother Catholic Church made a snicker.
You weren't singing
1984.
Achy Breaky Heart or anything, were you?
No, it was frightening. This was 2 years,
Maybe 3.
3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I was laughing hysterically. I had to go buy donuts. That wasn't nice.
A grown ass adult. I just got my ear pinched for making Snickers at the lady 3 rows
I
back.
did. You could feel the heat coming off of her. She was not happy. I went like this. I put my arm around Mama, and I went, holy mother.
You know, with Mama at
heat, and I went,
church.
oh,
No.
I'm in trouble.
Oh man.
It's bad enough my feet burn when I walk through the building.
Oh,
Because
you
if I had
actually
to go because they had an Irish Mick up front. They used to have the curmudgeon. I'm not kidding. I think he came from Poland, and he was scary. And he wouldn't let me up because I was divorced. It wasn't good.
How many times have you been divorced?
How many times have you been sippy side?
A few.
Yeah. Nice.
me, I'm going for a Henry VIII kind of record. I already got one divorced.
3.
That's my first husband.
You forgot to behead him.
Yeah.
No, I
Kill
can't
him.
behead him because we have a child together.
Yeah.
So I can't do anything to him that would hurt my son.
Yeah.
So I have to marry someone else and behead them. I am taking applications.
Your
I
son will
be
probably
selected.
figure out that he's a real winner before he's grown.
My son, you know what? Let me tell you something that's the greatest part about
still
my
mad about
marriage and
Christmas.
having a child with that person. The only evidence that there was alternative DNA in the making of my son is in the color of his eyes. Everything else on that child is me. Me! You
How I
can
feel
divorce.
about my children
We can divorce each other, but you'll never really be rid of me. You'll see me
daily.
every other weekend. And the other thing that's funny about that too is that kid, that son is my child in every way.
is.
So not only did I divorce
he
that
is.
man,
I gave him a constant reminder of.
but I gave him a constant reminder of the life he could have had he not decided to sleep with his ex our entire marriage.
Oh hot damn.
And you know what's funny too is they actually dated post our divorce, and they broke up.
Oh my God. She just turned.
We're turning it back. We're bringing it back full circle to karma.
She just
I'm
took
just
off.
saying.
I love the cackle. I love
She
it.
just flew across
Because
the
it
room.
feels good.
Flying
It
outside the
feels
building.
good.
Like, first off, you're gonna cheat on me with something that looks like an advertisement for Chihuahua dog food. Then you're gonna date that thing, and it still doesn't work, man.
they're never hotter than you. They are never hotter than
I
you.
would have been fine if it was somebody hotter than me.
That's
'cause
what I
could've-
said.
I could have
That's
understood
what I
that. Like, if
said.
it was Gal Gadot, like, dude, I'm gonna be mad if you don't sleep with Gal Gadot.
I
Are
will
you
give
kidding?
you permission. You
I'll
don't have
sleep
to-
with Gal Gadot.
Any day.
Yeah.
Any day and
Yeah.
twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
I think
It's
any
Gal
one of us at
Gadot.
this
Are you
table
kidding
would
me?
sleep with
Or
Gal
like,
Gadot.
I don't
If you say you wouldn't, you're lying.
Or a young Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman era.
Yeah.
I would do
Okay,
that.
yeah.
My
Catwoman
replacement
era.
looks like a
Catwoman
little
era,
boy.
Yeah.
Your replacement looks like a little boy.
Oh yeah.
Mine's half his age. Oh, damn.
So, in addition to my replacement having the face of a Chihuahua, she has the body of a very, very, very young child.
My ex
Not
cheated on me
attractive.
with somebody that is 13 years younger than him. She just turned 18 and just turned 18.
Pedophilia,
He is
interesting.
like almost 32.
Ew.
Ew. Yeah, really weird.
So many
Also,
ews.
she's fugly. Like,
Yeah, she's not a little
she's
ugly. She's
busted.
She's foobar
And
ugly.
even as much as I tried to be like, oh, she's pretty, everyone's like, Kaylin, no. No, she's not. I'm like, I don't think she's that bad looking. I'm like, she is.
You're
like,
wrong.
and yeah, they're like, except for when she talks, she's like, da-da-da-da, da-da-da, like everything's a question. And I'm like, this feels great.
no, it's
Also,
like
I still talk
Valley.
to his
It's almost
parents.
like Valley Girl.
Good luck finding someone better than
Not
you
to
didn't.
defend her, but having been somebody who was once a 17-year-old dating a 25-year-old, it's very hard to have the maturity and the perception to understand why such a much older man is interested.
I
So I
reminded
honestly,
him.
she might not be the best looking person in the world, but I truly have nothing but pity for people like that because
That's what I
having
said.
lived through that, I know
said.
exactly what kind of hell she's about to go through.
I told him,
There's
I was
a
like,
reason
is
a
it
32-year-old man can't get with somebody his own age.
I said to him, don't you think
He
it's
broke.
a little weird that like when you were graduating high school, she was going to kindergarten? I just put that in perspective for you, but
I can't
good for
say
you,
anything.
my
I
guy.
dated a lot older.
I think it's different when you're a grown up, when you get to be a grown up and you date
Yeah.
somebody that's, you know,
I
I was
think you're
38
right.
dating somebody that was 58. You know,
That's okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it is.
He brought
Because
stability
you
to
can-
my life
38
that I
and
needed.
58 is very, very different than 18 and 32. At
Oh, yeah.
38, you have your own life. You've had your own life experiences. You're very assured of who you are. And you especially, like just having known you for years, like I know that you're not a wallflower type person. You're not, you know, wafy or like afraid to speak your mind or spineless or anything like that. But most people, speaking generally, most people at 32, they know who they are. They know what they want. They've had enough lived experiences to recognize red flags. The power imbalance between somebody who is, you know, in their 30s and in their 50s is much, much, much less, if not completely eliminated,
Yeah.
than between somebody who is like 18 and 32.
fresh and teen,
That's-
fresh and adult.
That's
and,
light
yeah.
years. And
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what, to be
Yeah.
honest, I as a 25-year-old, you know, I worked with some 17-year-olds and I could not understand the attraction to them because the mentality is so different from what
That's
I would
what-
need to
that's-
connect with somebody.
The
That's how I
question was,
feel.
what does she have that I don't? I said, 4 more years of college. He's got a problem with commitment. It's very plain and simple. He's got a problem with commitment. She eliminates that for him. She's away at school, many states away. She's got 4 years of school to complete. So the subject of commitment and marriage and babies is off the table till she's done with school.
She's also not going to notice the red flags
Right.
as quick as somebody who is closer
She's
to his
just too
age.
young.
Yeah.
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 There's
absolutely.
something
I want to thank him every day for being who he is.
So does everybody else.
I
Every
honestly
day.
think we need to start having a more open dialogue as a society about these older men who date younger women. So to take it away from our personal lives, I'd like to take it to somebody public. Let's talk about what a freaking creep Leonardo Dicaprio is.
Oh,
None
yes.
of the women he dates are older than 25.
Yeah, they are
Really?
not
I
age
didn't-
How
appropriate.
See, I don't pay
disgusting
attention to this
and
stuff,
gross.
so I don't know.
All right, so there's always this you know, typical the hot actor dates a model or whatever. But Leo is one of a small number of men who exclusively date women who are under a particular age and dump them when they reach that age.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow. I
Whether
didn't
that's
know that.
intentional
I
or
didn't.
not, it is a pattern, and a pattern is a consistent, repeated behavior.
yes.
That is
But
correct.
let us ask ourselves, is Leonardo DiCaprio an adult? He's been in the business since he was a child. So did he develop like a normal
probably
child?
not.
So
Probably
he
not.
probably is physically in his 40s, right?
But
He's probably mentally he's not there.
With respect, I will agree that he has a very different life. That his mentality is probably very different than the average person.
It doesn't exclude.
It does not absolve him.
Yeah, it doesn't excuse the patterns
It's
or the
still
behavior,
weird.
but it's
Yeah.
It's still weird.
Yeah.
But society will allow it, and they don't think
Society-
anything
Because of who he is.
Well,
Society
older
doesn't
men
say a
have been
lot
with
about
younger
older
women
men.
for
Yeah.
centuries.
That's
It's
very
something
normal.
that's been done.
December
Yeah.
romance.
There's
Oh,
no
yes.
name for a man that's with a younger woman, but there is a name for a woman that's with a younger man. It's cougar.
Cougar.
What is the male equivalent of that, and why isn't that known?
Pervert. Yeah, that's
Panther?
exactly it. Pervert.
Sex panther.
Jailbait.
60% of the
And
time,
then
it works
with the younger
100% of the
woman, it's
time.
a December romance. When it is a woman, it's a cougar, which, okay, I don't mind the term.
I like it because it reminds them I have teeth and claws, and I'm not
That's
afraid to use
right.
either. Rawr.
And if you pet me right, I'll purr.
That is a typical
you,
Friday
baby.
night at Rebel's place. Yes.
Teeth and claws and purr.
Teeth and claws, and I can afford you. That's not the point.
Oh my goodness.
It's very
Oh,
frustrating.
come on. You ain't tapping out now, Doc.
It's so
Hell
great
no.
doing this with my parents, I
Come
gotta
on,
say.
come on, dude. You can hang. Come on.
It's very frustrating because there are some things that you go, you've never been to the opera, you've never been to the ballet. I'm sorry, why? You know, and granted, for
That's
most,
okay because sometimes you don't have that opportunity.
Or you're
But-
not interested.
But if you're falling asleep,
Yeah.
then I'm not interested.
Well, you know, and the May-December romance, which used to be commonplace, especially in Victorian society, you always married a man that was older and established. It was what your parents wanted for
Yes.
you.
Yeah,
yes,
that's what we
absolutely.
said
You know,
in the beginning.
There was security.
But let us be realistic. How exciting must your life have been
Right.
when you were a young woman of 20 or 22 years old marrying some old stodgy guy who probably could only get it up half the time? You know, I mean,
I think
come
that's
on.
kind of ideal.
Yes,
If you've got to marry somebody you don't like, the last thing you want is for them to have healthy circulation.
from where we're sitting now, that would be okay. But as a young person, I don't think I would have appreciated that at all. Even
I wouldn't
although,
have either.
Although in that era, sex was taboo. Women today are much more open with the fact that, hey, if we're just going to bed and we're going to have sex so you can get what you need and I'm going to come up empty every time, you ain't going to be in my bed very often.
Well, let's face facts, because the three of us, if we didn't produce an heir, we weren't inheriting. And it's not just inheriting, it's we didn't have the social status, we didn't have, I mean, at that time, we couldn't even get a credit card in our own names, which is horrifying because, you know, when you have to put S and then your last name, are you kidding me? I can't put my not just my surname, but just put my first name and my surname. I couldn't get a credit card in my own name.
No.
How ridiculous is that?
It's crazy ridiculous, but up until the 1960s, it was commonplace, and even further into that, you were only an extension of the person you were married to.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a credit card until I had my husband co-sign on it.
Yeah, isn't that some?
That is ridiculous.
I think you guys are missing the point
What
with the younger women and the older men. So,
Okay.
Okay,
Explain it
Doc.
to us,
So
Doc.
by the
So
time
keep
was-
in mind, and you and I are the only
Yeah.
two with a penis sitting at this table.
I
and
am
I
an
want to keep
alibi.
mine, so please, by all means,
I
I'm sitting sippy side.
work in
that's what I'm
IT.
saying.
But
I can fix this.
okay, so
You will
all
be
right, so
fixed.
Sippy side.
you're dating
Danger
a
zone.
much younger woman, right? And you marry a much older man. You're gonna bleed him out. So once he's dead and gone, you're now what, 40, 45?
But in those days,
30 if
that-
you're Anna
no.
Nicole Smith.
Yeah, but you've
But are you
now-
talking now, or are we talking?
Well, whatever.
Now or then.
Yeah.
So
Because
if
then
if
you
you're
still were only an extension of your husband. So when
But
he
now you've inherited
died,
all of
You
your
were
you
still
don't
nothing,
know. Women don't.
basically, yes.
Women didn't
No.
inherit
Well,
things
it's
then.
No, they
second
didn't.
life.
They didn't own land. They
so
didn't
now
own. Yeah,
it's
no.
like that, but like in the olden days, like they couldn't have anything.
No.
Nope.
Put
The
no
house
land.
went
They
back
had
to
a
his
son.
parents. They
Yep.
went back to
The
his,
son got
his
everything.
children. To
And it was
yeah.
his responsibility to take care of
Yes.
his mother. But he got everything and she
Yeah.
got nothing. So you put up with this old dude with whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to deal with him. You got to give him babies, you know, and then he
And
dies
if they
and
weren't
leaves
male,
you. And
it was somehow your fault, even though
Yeah.
the chromosome is in his
Men
sperm.
still do that kind of stuff, though. Certain men still do that. They're like, "Oh, I want a son."
Well,
Fix
you know,
your
stop-
sperm, bro. Like,
Stop
stop
drinking.
microwaving your testes. I don't know what to tell you. Like, crikey, my guy.
I pay the
Crap, and
20
that's
grand
one
to
of my
sort them out. I don't know what you want from me.
Listen, unless you're
what I've
looking to
been
have
doing wrong.
kids, Madman, you know, microwave on, my guy. Like,
It's not just that. It's the fact that
Standing in
Parents
front
had
of
to pay a dowry
too many weather radars on the
to
front of the plane when we're
release
powering up
me.
testing them. No, seriously, you
if I didn't
clear the
produce
area
an
before you
heir,
do that.
a male
They
heir,
can hurt people.
then I wasn't good enough. And the fact that I've produced male heirs and female heirs, and I'm only going to inherit half of what I should have inherited, it's very frustrating because you sit there and go, oh, people are only going to like me because what they think I can give them. And for male, that's not a problem. But for women, it's still in the United States, I still make less than my male counterpart.
Yeah, you
Yep.
do.
And
Yeah.
that
There's
is
another
very
show we'll do about stuff
frustrating.
like that too, because I think that's
I'm all for it.
Petey, you and I know a couple
Yeah.
that
We
were
know a couple.
we know a
you know a couple of couples, don't you?
that was
I'm
was
trying
sort
not
of a
to know
May,
people.
almost a May December romance that lasted 30 some years. I'll give you a hint. He
I know who it
passed
is.
away. Okay, just last year.
wait, I
Right.
want the hints. I'm going to put it together now.
Yeah. You may have met
Yeah, I
at
think
one of the
so.
parties.
She did.
We will not. This we will not.
Yeah, no.
No.
No names for this.
Right. And they were fantastic together.
They were.
They were lovely.
They
They
were.
were
absolutely
absolutely
lovely.
So I think
fantastic together.
But it's rare that you
Yes.
get paired of no choice of your own, get paired with somebody and are basically forced into a marriage, and it ends up being a true connection. I do believe that chemistry is something you can't fudge, but it is something that can be created. It can
Yes.
happen over time out of mutual respect and
You grow to appreciate the
an
person,
appreciation
yes.
for a person. Chemistry can come about.
Yes,
So
I
I
agree
don't-
with that.
I don't think chemistry can come about. I think mutual respect and appreciation can. But chemistry for me has always been one of those things where I either experience it or I don't. And I could have a lot of respect for someone and I could genuinely really care for and like that person, but we will never be more than friends because the chemistry is just not there.
I agree with that.
And I don't know. I feel like a lot of people nowadays are looking for true, genuine love, not just companionship. And I wouldn't feel right robbing someone of time and being with that person if I don't genuinely feel chemistry with them.
We just had this conversation on the way over here. I said, like I don't feel like I need to date people. I feel like dating someone is, like
It's the process of getting to know. That's what
it's the
dating's
process
for.
of getting to know someone. And if you already know someone, then there's no reason to date. I'm not going to date you. I'm not going to be your girlfriend, and you're not going to be my boyfriend. Like, if you want to take it to the next level, and we know each other, then do that. Because I already know you. There's no point
I agree.
in dating.
I absolutely agree with that because
Why waste the time?
Dating is where you start to get to know
Yeah.
each other
Yeah.
if you've just met.
Yes.
With you, you guys have known each other for years and years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And exactly. Look, you want
everybody I
to take it
talk
to the
to is
next
like,
level or not? Yes,
you guys
I
have known
agree.
each other 10 years, and you're talking about moving in together, and you just started dating. And
That
I'm like,
doesn't
I've
matter
known
though.
him
You've
10
known that
years.
Yeah.
person for a decade.
I said,
He's her go-to.
I
He's
said,
her go-to guy.
the most irritating person I've ever met in my entire life. 90% of the time I want to
Y'all are
punch him in
gonna
the
get
face,
married.
but it's going to be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Y'all are gonna get
That's
married.
going to be a good relationship.
They don't talk, but they
Because you
always
guys
come back.
talk.
They
Yeah.
always come back to this place. They always
Yeah.
come back to this place, which means the connection is real.
And
Yeah.
that is worth more than anything else in
Yes.
the world.
And to be
Yes.
honest, considering your age and the fact that you've known this person for 10 years, so that means you've known this person since 16?
It's 17, yeah. Since I was like
16,
17
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to be honest, that's very normal, that kind of cycle, because those years are really the formative years of a person. And we're still all figuring out who we are, what we want, what we don't want, the kind of life we're trying to build for
Right.
ourselves, whether or not that's possible, so many different things. That's a very normal thing. Like, I would be weirded out if somebody who I'd known for 10 years was like, oh, no, let's date instead of being in a relationship. Like,
Yeah.
that for me would make me instantly question their motives.
Yeah.
Like if you don't know me after 10 years, then you don't know me well enough to date me
That's
either,
just
buddy.
it, yeah.
Like we can be friends, that's fine.
You basically spent 10 years dating without actually dating.
Yeah, yeah.
But you've gotten to know everything about
Yes,
each other.
we have
and
dated each other's significant others. Like when he was dating
Okay,
someone, I
that's
was
weird.
like, "Oh, I don't really like her," and he's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "This is why." Or he'd be like, "I don't really like him," and I'd be like, "Why?"
when you are critiquing each other's, yeah.
It should have been a sign, but it wasn't.
Very different.
That's what I was going
And
to
I'm
say. That's
glad
kind of a
for it.
sign that you guys are watching out for each other.
It was quite interesting.
So, but sometimes you just have to realize that, hey, wait a minute, maybe we should, hey, yeah, duh.
Sometimes soulmates connect immediately,
Yeah.
and sometimes they are grown together.
I went so far as setting him up with one of my friends. I was like, "Yeah, like you should totally date her." They started dating, and I was like, "I really,
I hate this whole
I
thing.
don't like this."
Yeah.
So I'm gonna need it to end immediately, and
Yeah.
then everything just kind of spiraled from there. It was a very interesting situation.
I will tell you, my grandmother gave me some words of advice when I first got onto the dating area of my life. And she said, when you are looking for a potential partner, find somebody that you really enjoy spending your time with. Because the sexual end of a relationship has an ebb and flow. Chemistry can be it can be created. Over time, it can be created. But in the end, what is left is your companionship and your communication. And if you don't have those things, it's going to be a long, long ending to your life.
Yeah. So I really agree with that. We come, I think we view chemistry a little bit different, which is fine. Your definition is for you. My definition is for me. We don't need to agree on that. But I absolutely agree with what you just said. For me personally, like the second that there's no longer that companionship, the second there's no longer that respect, I have absolutely no physical interest in that person at all.
Yeah.
That for me is immediately like, and it's funny too, because so many men are like, "Oh, we've been married for so many years. Why doesn't my wife want to sleep with me anymore?" When's the last time she felt respected by you?
When's the last time you paid
When's
attention
the
to her
last time
any place
you
else
were-
besides the bedroom?
Yeah.
Yes.
My first husband, he'll tell you all the time, like, "Oh, she never wanted to have sex." He's right. Because the only time he touched me was when he wanted to stick something in me.
Right,
And it's very
right.
gross feeling like a receptacle
Yeah.
and not
Yes,
like a whole
I
human
agree
being.
with that. I agree with
It's
that.
very disgusting feeling like I'm not worthy of respect and I'm not worthy of being treated with thought, with care.
Right.
By somebody who expects me to be vulnerable and naked with them.
Courting somebody.
That's nuts.
Courting somebody or seducing somebody, as they like to say, it's a process. And it doesn't happen in the 15 minutes you want to take your significant other upstairs to bed. It happens with, he put the tea kettle on for me this morning, and he held me when I was washing the dishes at the sink, and he kissed the back of my neck, and he text messaged me when he was at work. It's an all-day kind of build-up to where you're getting to.
You guys are so cute.
That's the type of stuff I'll do to her. I'll come up behind her when she's at the sink and I'll put my arms around her. Yeah, that's the type of thing.
They were just talking about this, and you're just like looking at each other. And I'm like, "Oh my god!"
I've said it
stop."
before. I'll say it again.
We really-
These two are
Pete-
truly
Petey
what I
and
look
I
for
are-
as
are
like a
best
relationship
friends, yeah.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are
This
absolutely
is the
best
type
friends.
of
This
relationship
is-
that I
yeah.
aspire to have.
Yeah,
'Cause
you
this is
really
healthy,
need to
and
like
it's
that other
real.
person, because the love end of a relationship has an ebb and flow.
Yeah,
there are
it
days,
does. It absolutely does.
There are within a day. There are moments that you think to that person, like he's laying there snoring, and I'm thinking, I'll just take the pill and suffocate him.
You would look real great with a cast iron about your face right now, man.
I
Yeah,
said
that's what you think.
Yeah.
But then there's other things. There's other things that he'll do, like, "Oh, honey, I went out and I did this for you," like, or "I shoveled a spot to your car for you, so you didn't have to walk in the snow." Those are kind things.
Yeah.
Those are thoughtful things. But the
And they
snoring
mean
makes me
everything.
want to. Yeah,
They do.
the snoring makes me want to suffocate him. But the other stuff makes me know that
want
you
to
know.
keep him.
Men really, I find that some men, not all men. So before everyone's like, not all men, keep it to yourself. All right. I'll come find you. I work in IT and I'm bored. Leave me alone. So, but some men, crappy men, they'll be like, "Oh, women are so difficult." We're really not.
No.
Like the
Feed
most.
us.
Yeah.
Give
like
us some
if I
affection.
have a bad day and my man's like, "Oh, I just got us takeout so you don't have to worry about it." The level of attraction I feel towards that man, the
It's
food is
intense.
getting cold. We're going to bed now.
That just skyrocketed. You just
Go.
I
Yeah.
picked a fight a couple days ago.
Sometimes
And
that's needed. They like him crazy.
I did. I picked
Yeah,
a fight,
that's
and he
true.
said,
That's true.
"Do me a favor, go downstairs, get a snack, get something to drink. When you come back upstairs, if you still want to fight about it, we can." And I came back upstairs, and he goes, do you want to pick up our conversation? I said, about what? And he goes, right. I was just
He
angry.
knows you.
I was
10 years in,
starving.
I would hope.
And I was
knows
like,
you.
I don't
That
even know
one
what I
right
picked
there.
to fight about it. I couldn't tell you. I said the best part about, and my sister, one of them is like, this is never going to work because he is this. He's this type of person. He's always been this type of person. And I was like, yes, to other people. But the best part about dating your best friend is that he doesn't look at me with rose-colored glasses. Mm-hmm. He looks at me and he's like, I can't stand you. You're being very annoying right now. He's not scared to hurt my feelings. He's not scared to like step on my toes when he needs to. And that's nice. I don't need somebody that's going to like walk on eggshells around me.
Yeah,
I need somebody that's going to be like, shut up and listen to what I'm saying to you. You talk entirely too much. You talk too fast. Nobody understands you. You just covered 12 subjects. Relax. Relax. Mm-hmm. Or, hey, I think you need a snack, so here's some potato chips.
That's that one right there.
Yeah.
She gets hangry.
Yeah, it's not good.
And matter of fact, and so do I. When my blood sugar starts to
we're
go,
not good together at all when we're both hungry.
If we're both hungry at the same time, it's not pretty.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna have. We're
One
gonna
of
have
the
a
other
hangry
things-
daddy at home.
Yeah, we're gonna be wrapping it. I mean, this is great, but you know what? We can always pick it up another time.
We
It is not a
definitely
problem.
should, because there's a whole list of stuff that I have to contribute. Another thing that I don't think is talked about often enough is like if I'm venting towards a guy, like with one of with a beau or with a boyfriend or whatever, and it's about somebody he's never met. And he's like, you know what? To hell with that person. They suck. If he's instantly on my side, hating someone I also hate, not knowing anything, feeling that unity, feeling like that person has my
He's
back.
got your back.
Feel supported.
Feels supportive. That's attractive as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Let me cook you a dinner, baby. Why don't you sit down? I'm going to come feed you.
And one more thing, a sense of humor.
Oh God.
Yes.
Because the night that we met,
it was the best.
that after all the stuff with the other one that I'd gone through, the first night, half the night was horrible, and then she left me there
Yeah.
And I was
because Kitty
next
was
to
there,
you.
my brother was
I
there.
love-
I knew I had a ride home. I wasn't worried about it, and I met her, and we talked, and then we all went out for breakfast, and we were there until like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
Oh, I bet
And
you were
we
on
were
the
just
shit list when
having-
you got home.
Yeah, and I didn't really
I don't
give
think
a
you
rat.
lived with her at that time, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh.
With that one, yeah, not with her, with the other one.
Oh, with the other one. Okay.
Ah, yes.
He was a perfect gentleman too. I will say that.
No kiss goodnight.
No.
No little smooch on the cheek.
Nope.
Just
But-
nice to meet
She
you.
wouldn't have
Yep.
been attracted to him if he did that
But
because
she
Right.
knew.
Right.
She will tell you. She knew that night. She met her. She said
I did. I knew.
she told her
I
cousin.
did.
She told Kitty. I met
I
my
did not
future
tell
husband.
Kitty.
Oh, I thought. Who did you tell?
I
You
told my best friend. I met my
that's right.
husband.
I'm sorry. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aww.
So definitely, I can tell you right
And I
now.
had to wait on him a while,
Sense
but,
of
you know.
humor is a I know. I had to get rid of another one, but a sense, and that's where sometimes I'll tell that story another time where trying to be a nice guy can bite you. In
There's nicer than there's too nice.
Sometimes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess sometimes you have to be a. But
Well, you just got to not be afraid of me. If you're afraid of me, I'm going to sense weakness and eat you.
Oh God.
but anyway, so all right, another one.
Anything.
And I'll tell you what, we'll pick this one up another time. This conversation up another time because there's just so much to say. But it has been, believe it or not, an hour and a half. So this is a nice long episode. But that's going to do for that one. Thanks again for joining us for the PSNORKIS podcast. Don't forget to check out our website, PSNORKIS.com, PSNORKIS.com. Lots of cool stuff going on there, and you get to learn more about us as individuals. And we'll talk to you again real soon. Till then, as I say each and every week, try to be good to each other. We'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.